Om Jnana Timandasya Jnanasla Sanaka Chakshanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Satarine. This morning we will discuss the verses 13 till 19 of the 9th chapter of Canto 7. Prahlad pacifies Lord Nrsimhadev with prayers. But first I want to make I want to do a little recap of the 8th chapter and what we heard before. So in the 8th chapter, Lord Nrsimhadev tore apart Hiranyakashipu. And then there were offering of prayers to the Lord by Brahma, by the rishis, the sages, the demigods, all the leaders, and they prayed all through their perception of the Lord, their mentality, their interest, but they could not satisfy Lord Nrsimhadev. So I want to read some comments of Srila Prabhupada from some of his lectures on chapter 8. Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, by whose power did you become so fearless? And Srila Prabhupada replies in his lecture, by whose power are you so puffed up that and by whose power am I so humble? That's replied Prahlad Maharaj by Srila Prabhupada. Hiranyakashipu to Prahlad, is your God in the pillar? So Lord Nrsimhadev, he appeared to uphold the words not only of Prahlad Maharaj, but also the words of Narada Muni, and also the words of Brahma, because Narada Muni had promised Prahlad's mother that Prahlad Maharaj will not be killed, that he always be saved. That Narada Muni had also said to the demigods about Prahlad, who was in the womb, you will not able to kill him. And also the words of Prahlad himself, who said the Lord is everywhere. And the words of Brahma. He gave all these blessings to Hiranyakashipu. You will not be killed during the night, during the day, not in the air, not on the ground, but But he was killed by Lord Nrsimhadev during twilight, by snails, not by weapons, not by a human being, not by an animal. So Lord Nrsimhadev appeared. So let's pray to Lord Nrsimhadev that he may appear in our heart. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. Namaste aste ase avirbhava vachanaka vachadamstra. Karmasyam randaya tamoga saga samsvaya. Abhayam atmani bhushta om sham. So Lord Nrsimhadev has this very sharp nails, And we are asking to Lord Nrsimhadev, please enter my heart and take away everything what is an obstacle for in my attempt to serve you with love. So we heard also previously that Lord Nrsimhadev is like a huge lion and Prahlad is like a lion cub. Srila Prabhupada comments, if someone tries to weigh the cup, the lion will come roaring and attack. So Lord Nrsimhadev was still roaring, and the demigods could not satisfy. So when Lord Chaitanya visited the Nrsimha temple, he visited his Nrsimha temple in Visakhapatnam. I've been there, it's a very beautiful temple at a little on a hill. And Lord Chaitanya, when he was there, he was saying, Shri Nrsimha Jai Nrsimha Jai Jai Nrsimha Paladesa Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringam. All glories to Lord Nrsimhadev, the Lord of Prahlad, who is like a Nrsimhadev is like a honeybee, always engaged in beholding the lotus face of the goddess of fortune. So Lord Nrsimhadev is very soft to the devotees, like a lion to his cub. I think many of you have the experience that Ugra Nrsimhadev in Mayapur, that is very soft to the devotees, like a father. And Mother Narayani said, if you have any disease, then quickly cures your disease. All the demigods were very fearful, and they were afraid to come in front of Lord Nrsimhadev. Even Lakshmi was afraid in front of her husband, that she never saw him like this before. So she was thinking, maybe it's not my husband. After all, the demigods, they failed to pacify Lord Nrsimhadev, and Brahma pushed Prahlad in front of the Lord. It's like pushing a child in a cage of a lion. But Prahlad was happy and jolly. He was not afraid. Prahlad fell at the feet of Lord Nrsimhadev, and Nrsimhadev was very pleased. Srila Prabhupada said, we should be simple and innocent, like Prahlad Maharaj. In the Brihad Nrsimha Purana, it is said that Lord Nrsimhadev, when Prahlad fell at his lotus feet, he picked him up and was licking him like a lion licks a cub. Prahlad Maharaj captured the lotus feet of the Lord in the heart, and Lord Nrsimhadev put his hand on Prahlad Maharaj's head. Srila Prabhupada said in a lecture, we can have the same touch of Lord Nrsimhadev on our head. How do you do that? By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The Lord is not pacified by austerities, learning, sacrifice. They are like zeros. He is only actually satisfied by one thing, and that thing is bhakti. In verse 10, we have heard that Brahminical qualities are useless if one is averse to devotional service. So there are verses that are preceding this verse we will read today, verse 13. In verse 12, Prahlad Maharaj concluded, although I'm a demon by birth, my prayers to you are that I will be purified. So we will read text 13. Sarveyame vidikaras tavasatvadamno pramadayo vyam iveshanachot vijanta shemaya bhutaya utatma sukaya sasya vikredikim bhagavato chirafatarai. O my Lord, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, are sincere servants of your Lordship, who are situated in a transcendental position. Therefore, they are not like us, Prahlad and his father, the demon Hiranyakashipu. Your appearance in this fearsome form is your pastime for your own pleasure. Such an incarnation is always meant for the protection and improvement of the universe. And interesting, Prahlad is saying is, we demons, we are different from these demigods who are in goodness, and you came to please them. So he sees himself as a demon. Yet he says, yes, but you came for the welfare of the whole, everyone in the universe. That now we will read a short purport. Prahlad Maharaj wanted to assert that his father and other members of his family were all unfortunate because they were demoniac, whereas the devotees of the Lord are always fortunate because they are always ready to follow the orders of the Lord. When the Supreme Lord appears in this material world in his various incarnations, he performs two functions: saving the devotee and vanquishing the demon. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya sadushkitam. Lord Nrsimhadev, for example, appeared for the protection of the devotees. Such pastime as those of Nrsimhadev are certainly not meant to create a fearful situation for the devotees, but nonetheless, the devotees, being very simple and faithful, were afraid of the fierce incarnation of the Lord. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj, in the following prayer, requests the Lord to give up his anger. So Prahlad Maharaj is not afraid. That will be confirmed later. It's so the demigods, they are afraid. So he's asking, yeah, you come to please the demigods, so please give up your anger. Please do not be angry anymore. These demigods are your devotees. That they are demons. They are not demons like we, Prahlad Maharaj says. So please cease your anger. So Prahlad Maharaj is praying here with great sincerity. Now, if we would chant Hare Krishna mantra with the same sincerity, so he's stressing this in these verses. Srila Prabhupada from his lectures, Prahlad Maharaj says that you are coming for the demigods. They are not like us, the demons. So how humble is Prahlad Maharaj? He's not saying, I'm a devotee. He says, I'm a demon because I was born in a demon family. This is a sign of a devotee. He takes this humble attitude. So He says also in this verse 13, you are coming for their maintenance. Your incarnation is for the protection and improvement of the universe. Now you should not be angry. Give up your anger. And it continues that request in text 14. Tatyachamanyam asurasatastvayatya modeta sadur apivikshikya sarpahatya lokasani vittimita patiyanti sarve upam nishinga vibhajaya chana smaranti. Lord Nrsingadev, please therefore cease your anger. Now that my father, the great demon Hiranyakashipu, has been killed, since even saintly persons take pleasure in the killing of a scorpion or a snake, all the worlds have achieved great satisfaction because of the death of this demon. Now they are confident of their happiness, and they will always remember your auspicious incarnation in order to be free from fear. So why was Hiranyakashipu worse than a snake or worse than a scorpion? Because he could not be tamed. That's impossible. So he wanted to kill his own son. Even snakes don't kill their own offspring. How is it that Prahlad Maharaj was happy that his father was killed? Because he was a great demon and a disturbance for others. When Srila Prabhupada was in Allahabad, he found a snake under his mattress. And he said, yeah, you take the snake, but don't kill him. Although later he found out they killed the snake. But Srila Prabhupada, he was disturbed because his spiritual master ordered to kill a snake, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj. So he was in doubt, but later he found this verse here in the Bhagavatam. Snakes and scorpions are by nature envious. There was this scorpion and a horse. They wanted to cross the river. And the scorpion said to the snake, the scorpion said to the horse, please keep me on your back so that I also can cross. And the horse said, no, you will bite me. I cannot take you, you will bite me. And the scorpion said, no, I promise, I will not. So the horse agreed, and the scorpion was on his body, and he was crossing the river. But in the middle of the river, the scorpion was biting him. And then the horse said, yes, but you promised. Yes, but the scorpion said, but nothing I can do about it. It's just my nature. Yes. So Sanakya Pandit said, the envious man is more dangerous than a snake. A snake can be controlled by mantras, by snake charmers, or by herbs. So snake charmers have power over snakes. Also, they can cure snake bites. But mostly, yeah, of course, snakes are very simple creatures, and people who like snakes are also very simple. That's Srila Prabhupada said, in Bombay, a snake-like person would not give would not give us the land. And when he died from a heart attack, Srila Prabhupada was informed and he was very happy. He said, I was praying to Lord Nrsimhadev to kill him. So Lord Nrsimhadev is like a lion, and he's very ferocious to other animals. But yeah, of course, Nrsimhadev to his own, so to one's own child, one is very favorable, peaceful. In this world, there is danger at every step. So therefore, you can't live peaceful here. We have always to pray for Lord Nrsimhadev's protection. Srila Prabhupada said, even if a snake has a jewel on his head, you should not trust him. So Srila Prabhupada said, a demon may be your friend, but you cannot trust him. Better to have an enemy who is a saint than to have a demon who is your friend. You cannot trust the demon, just like you cannot trust the sky, even if it is clear at any moment. A cloud can come. You remember that Kamsa, when Vasudeva, when he promised to bring every child to him that would take birth, then Kamsa was for the moment pacified because he had trust in the word of Vasudeva, in the word of a devotee. But the word of a demon is wordless. You cannot trust him. So, in verse 15, Prahlad Maharaj is continuing to pray, to be satisfied that Naham bibepya chita titibayanakasya Chivakanetu Prokoti Rabaso Kadamstat Antra Chacha Satayake Sharasankukarnan Nidra Tabita Dihibat Aribin Nakagat. My Lord, while never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue. Your eyes bright like the sun, and your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, or your high witch-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails which are meant to kill your enemies. So we are all, Prahlad Maharaj is praying here on behalf of the demigods that so I will read a part of the purport that Lord Nrsimhadev's sphere appearance was certainly most dangerous for non-devotees. But for Prahlad, such a fearful appearance was not at all disturbing. The lion is very fearsome for other animals, but its cubs are not at all afraid of the lion. The water of the sea is certainly dreadful for all living entities on the land, but within the sea even, the small fish is unafraid. Why? Because the small fish has taken shelter of the big ocean. It is said that all the great elephants are taken away by flooding waters of the river. The small fish swims opposite the current. Therefore, although the Lord sometimes assumes a fear appearance to kill the Duskritis, the devotees worship him. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupam Jaya Jagadisare Jaya Jagadisare Jaya Jagadisare. The devotee always takes pleasure in worshipping the Lord and glorifying the Lord in any form, either pleasing or fierce. So, but now in text 16, Prahlad Maharaj will tell what he is afraid of in this world. So. Tastosmiyayam kipana vatsadu sagoka samsara sakra kananat shvasatam panita vadasvakarmabir usattamanen shimulam pito pavarga sharanam ya vayase kadanu. O most powerful, insurmountable Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, I've been put in the association of demons as a result of my activities, and therefore I'm very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. When will that moment come when you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditional life? So we are all waiting for the mercy of the Lord. When will the Lord call us? So here the word Kripana Vatsala is used. We know of the word Bhakta Vatsala, but Kripana Vatsala, while the Kripanas, the selfish persons, the misers, but he is kind to all, the Lord. He is known as Kripa Vatsala. So this we start in the middle of the purport. So the Lord is known as Kripa Vatsala because he is extremely kind to the conditioned souls. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, therefore the Lord appears whenever there are discrepancies in the execution of religious principles. Yada yada dharmasya glanirvabdabharatya tatatmanam shishamyaham. The Lord is extremely anxious to deliver the conditioned souls, and therefore he instructs all of us to return back to Godhead. Savadam Pracham Mam Kamsam Vacha. Thus Prahlad Maharaj expected that the Lord, by his kindness, would call him again to the shelter of his lotus feet. In other words, everyone should be eager to return home back to Godhead, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus being fully trained in Krishna consciousness. So if you are not afraid of Lord Nrsimhadev, who is the most fearful. What are you afraid of? But Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, I'm afraid. Srila Prabhupada used to say that we are not afraid enough for Maya. But Prahlad Maharaj was afraid for Maya. There's a word, a specific word in this verse that indicates what Prahlad Maharaj is afraid of. And these are actually two words, samsara chakra. And Prahlad Maharaj is going to describe the samsara chakra in very great detail. Prahlad Maharaj says, I'm not afraid of you, but I'm afraid of bad association. He's afraid that by association of the demons, he may also become a demon. That Prahlad Maharaj said, I'm afraid to take rebirth among demons who wish to devour me. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the singer, they've asked the questions. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is entering some verses between verses to bring it to life. So Nrsimhadev asked the question, are you thrown there by me? Means with these demons. Prahlad Maharaj said, no, I'm born only by my own acts. Therefore be pleased with me and call me at your lotus feet and give me shelter and call me to your lotus feet to massage them. So these are the comments of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Prabhupada said, I'm an old man now, so many inconveniences that sometimes you can walk or breathe a different torture. You can't walk, you can't breathe. A different torture every day. It's just a torture. Prahlad Maharaj will say this. This body is just a bunch of diseases. But when you get older, you get every day something. That you go to bed and you sleep, you get up in the morning and you feel still tired. That is getting old. So we should follow in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj and be afraid being in demoniac association. Avoid demoniac association. Srila Prabhupada said, but now in the Western countries, no one is afraid. He was lecturing in Hawaii and one student said, so what is the problem if I become a dog? What's wrong with that? Then I can have sex in the street without any facility of restriction. Then when you are a dog, you are free, no rules, no regulations. And Srila Prabhupada raised his hand and said, you have my blessings. So that's poor student. He should not have asked this to Prabhupada. Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, I don't mind to be born as an insect if I'm born in the house of a pure devotee. But I do not want to be born even in a very rich family if I'm not a devotee. I even don't want to become Brahma if I'm not a devotee. So Srila Prabhupada quotes the verse 1866, Sabdam Pracham Mamakam Sram Pracham Tvam Sarvapapyo Moksayishyami Machcha. Take shelter of me, Krishna says. And over we will see in this purport. And also tomorrow Over and over in every purport, he quotes this verse. These are verses speaking about surrender. That's another translation. Srila Prabhupada used, don't be entangled in apavarga. Take shelter of me. Yes. When Srila Prabhupada says this in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada says, he's actually calling us to take shelter at his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada is calling us, well, Srila Prabhupada says, he's calling us right now. He's calling us, take shelter of my lotus feet and I will free you from all reactions. When he is pleased, he will call you. You must always expect, when will he call me? We must act in a way that he will call us. Srila Prabhupada said, what have you done to see God? An atheist expects that you just can call God and he should appear before them. And many years ago, the devotees in London had a debate with atheists, and atheists said, show me your God. But Krishna would reply, but why should I come? What's your qualification to call me and order me? So Srila Prahlad said, when you call me to your lotus feet, we should all be anxious for Krishna to call us back home to God, back to Godhead. In the Priti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami makes a comment about the material world. He says, I'm afraid because of my offenses I have committed, like demons around me. I'm thrown amongst them. So, I'm suffering because I'm far from you. When will you be pleased with me, Priti, and call me at your lotus feet, Angre, which are the ultimate goal of liberation for the conditioned soul, of Apavarga Sharanam. These are all Sanskrit terms in the verse that so this is from a story which appeared in a book on Lord Nrsimhadev many years ago. This about 10 years ago now, longer I think it's longer. Pankajangri Prabhu, he daily worshipped Lord Nrsimhadev. And he shares his realization of that worship. While dressing the Lord and remembering his mercy, I saw how devotees sometimes misunderstand Nrsimhadev, that some say worship of Lord Nrsimhadev is in Vaikuntha Bhav, and he cannot take one to Goloka Vrindavan. So Pankajangri Prabhu replies like this. Lord Nrsimhadev is particularly inclined to devotees of Radha and Krishna. Is Krishna himself appearing in this form to remove our desires and to remove our obstacles in our devotional service? That is why worshipping him, that is why worship of him, those who worship him, is very merciful to them, especially to devotees of Radha and Krishna. If one raises his hands and calls out with raised hands, Nitai Gaur, to Radha Madhav, that is wonderful. But if there is something in your heart that stops you from the spontaneous call, then you can go before Nrsimhadev and pray that with his sharp nails he removes the crooked desires in your heart and takes them away. That is what's stopping us, these crooked desires. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur writes, therefore I will pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to purify my heart and give me the desire to serve Krishna. Weeping, I will beg at the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev that I may worship Radha Krishna in Navadvip Dham, free from all obstacles. At that moment, by Lord Nrsimhadev's mercy, I will exhibit symptoms of ecstatic love of Radha and Krishna, and I will roll at the door of Nrsimhadev's temple. That is Bhaktivedanta Thakur's prayer. Now here are some more arguments by Pankajari Prabhu. Did the Lord Chaitanya reveal his divinity to Srivas Thakur while Srivas was worshipping his Nrsimha deity by saying, Srivas, don't you know that I am this deity? Saying, Srivas, don't you know that I'm the same person you are worshipping behind closed doors? That's what he said. When Sri Advaita called me to descend, Lord Chaitanya said, he worshipped a big Nrsimha Salagam. Advaita worshipped, Srivas Thakur worshipped, Pankajani is worshipping, Bhaktivedanta Thakur is worshipping Lord Nrsimhadev, and we are worshipping Lord Nrsimhadev because he's very kind to Radha Krishna devotees. So Pankajani Prabhu, he describes further his worship of Nrsimhadev. That I've now put ornaments on Nrsimhadev's body as such that they hang symmetrically. I put shining bracelets on his wrists and put rings on his fingers. The Lord is so close and yet so far away. When will I become a devotee? Prahlad Maharaj is not afraid of your ferocious appearance. Your eyes are as bright as the sun. That he does not fear your garland of intestines and your mane soaked in blood, nor is he afraid of your roaring, which makes elephants flee, nor is he afraid from your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies. But he says, I'm very afraid of my condition, Prahlad Maharaj said. I'm very afraid of my condition in the material world. When will that moment come that you will call me at your lotus feet? Prahlad Maharaj said that only for our benefit, because he was always surrendered to you, already surrendered to you. Now Pankajani told his experience of being saved by Lord Nrsimhadev. During the big flood of 1987, while offering your puja, staying waist deep in water, a big snake entered the temple and stopped before you about 5 feet from me. After observing me for a long time, the snake dipped aside and disappeared in the water. I felt insecure because I had not the ability or weapons to defend me. Knowing this, I turned completely to you, my Lord, and I knew my fate was completely in your hands. You are the super soul in everyone's heart. If you want the snake to bite me, it will bite, and if you don't, it won't. Let me continue my service. The result is always depending on you. I finished the morning puja, but I could not stop thinking of the incident. It reminded me of the description of Kapila Dev to the helpless condition of the child in the womb. To get the darshan of Paramatma in the heart, and if that and the child prays for relief of his suffering condition. But as soon as the child are out in a good shape, they forget everything. Still, I have great hope that one day I can serve you for your pleasure. Every day the snake would come into the temple and circumambulate the Shingadev and then go out. Who knows who the snake actually was? Then, at the end of the puja, covering his body with fresh garlands of flowers and decorated with sandalwood paste mixed with fragrant flowers and tulsi to his lotus feet, which symbolize sacrificing everything to the Lord. The morning puja is now complete. Hearing the devotees waiting outside makes me hurrying. It is time for darshan, to blow the conch 3 times and open the doors. The devotees bow down, happy to see their Lord Nrsimhadev again. In their heart, they know that he is not really Ugra. He's not so Ugra as he looks like. So that was experience of Pankajangri. Now text 17. Yasmat Priya Priya Viyoga Samyoga Janma Sukhanina Sakalayoni Sudayamana Dukkhasadam Tadapi Dukkhamatadiyayam Pumam Brahmani Padameta Padasya Yogam. O Great One, O Supreme Lord, because of combination with pleasing and displeasing circumstances, and because of separation from them, one is placed in a most regrettable position within heavenly or hellish planets, as if burning in a fire of lamentation. Although there are many remedies by which to get out of miserable life, any such remedies in the material world are more miserable than the miseries themselves. Therefore, I think that the only remedy is to engage in your service. Please instruct me in such service. So remedies are worse than the disease. So sometimes we are connected, sometimes we are separated in this world. We are burning in lamentation. Half of the time in this world, people are fighting with each other. Because, like the United Nations, Srila Prabhupada said, if you have dogs coming together, they will fight with each other. Only a remedy, that's Prahlad Maharaj is stressing, the only remedy is devotional service. Surrender to the Supreme Lord. That we should understand this from all angles of vision, and then when we understand that, we can be happy in this world. That Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, Lord Nrsimhadev, what will you do with service to my lotus feet? Srila Prabhupada says to Prahlad, what will you do with service to my lotus feet? It's better to enjoy the opulences of your father's kingdom of the 3 worlds. Prahlad Maharaj replies, everyone who is born in this world is separated from their loved ones and countless encounters with foes, and therefore one burns in the fire of distress. Nrsimhadev replied, okay, there is distress, but there are so many remedies. Prahlad Maharaj replied, the remedies are more bitter than the distress. Forgetting distress, I may obtain the body of a pig and be happy, but that is just an illusion. If I engage in your service in any form of life, then I experience no distress. Then we go here, text 18, also with interesting commentaries of Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur. Soham priyasya surida paradevataya lila katastavana shinga virinchakita anyastita manuhyan kuna vipramukto durganite padayuha layatam sasanga. O my Lord Nrsimhadev, by engaging in your transcendental loving service in the association of devotees who are liberated souls, hamsas, I shall become completely contaminated by the association of the three modes of material nature, and able to chant the glories of your Lordship, who are so dear to me. I shall chant your glories, following exactly in the footsteps of Lord Brahma and his disciplic succession. In this way, I shall undoubtedly be able to cross the ocean of nations. So commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur. Priyasya Surida Paradevaya. Each of these terms, Priyasya, Surida, Paradevaya, each of the three refers to three kinds of devotees and their relationship with the Lord. Priyasya, Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur says, he is the Priya, the beloved of the Utsala Bhakta. It's representing the relationship in Madhurya Ras. Surida is a great friendship, Sakya Ras. And Paradevataya, he is the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Dasya Bhaktas. So these three kinds of devotees Prahlad Maharaj is including in his prayer. Prahlad Maharaj is recommending to chant the glories of the Lord. How can we make it easier to chant Hare Krishna? How can we overcome our obstacles in our chanting? The answer is by association. That I will read a part of the purport that a devotee's life and duty are very well explained herein. As soon as the devotee chants the holy name and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he comes to the liberated position. Attachment for glorifying the Lord by hearing and chanting the holy name and activities of the Lord, Shravana and Kirtanam Vishnu, certainly brings one to the position where material contamination is absent. One should chant the bona fide songs received from the disciplic succession. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that chanting is powerful when one follows the disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsayo vidu. Manufacturing many ways will never be effective. However, chanting the song or the narration left by the previous acharyas, Marjano Ishena Gata Sapanta, is extremely effective, and this process is very easy. Therefore, in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj uses the word anja, easily, accepting the thoughts of exalted authorities through disciplic succession is certainly much easier than the method of mental speculation, by which one tries to invent some means to understand the absolute truth. So it is easy when we follow authorities that so therefore in this verse Prahlad Maharaj used the word anja easily, accepting the thoughts of exalted authorities to disciplic succession. That is certainly much easier than the method of mental speculation, by which one tries to invent some means to understand the absolute truth. The best process is to accept the instructions of previous acharyas and follow them. Then God realization and self-realization becomes extremely easy. It becomes extremely easy. So we should follow the instructions. So by following this easy method, one is liberated from the contamination of the material nature, and thus can certainly cross the ocean of nations, in which there are many miserable conditions. So in the ocean of nations, we may encounter various crocodiles. What are these crocodiles? According to Nectar of Devotion, it relates to Mayavadis, lust, anger, greed, opposition outside and opposition inside. Outside the Mayavadis, inside the lust, anger, greed. But by following in the footsteps of the Paramahamsas, we are completely freed from material contamination. Indeed, by following the instructions of acharyas, one is always freed from all material contamination, and thus one's life becomes successful. For one reaches the goal of life. The material world is miserable regardless of one's standard of life. Of this there is no doubt. Attempts to mitigate the miseries of material existence by material methods will never be successful. One must take to Krishna consciousness to become really happy. Otherwise, happiness is impossible. One might say that becoming advanced in spiritual life also involves tapasya, voluntary acceptance of some inconvenience. However, such inconvenience is not as dangerous as material attempts to mitigate all miseries. We see sometimes devotees undergoing so much trouble so Mother Narayani shared an experience. When I was preaching in Russia, a Mataji said to me, these karmis outside seem to be in a much better position than we are. They have a nice place to stay, and we are in the ashram. What's the answer to that? What do we say? Because Lord Rishabhadev tells his 100 sons, Tapodivyam putra kayena sattvam, sutyeyasma brahmasukyamantam. This tapasya is for unending happiness. Our happiness here is mixed with distress. What is this Virinchina Gita, which mentioned in the purport, in the Sanskrit of the verse? That's the prayers of Brahma that we should recite every day. Of course, there is the Brahma Samhita, but also the Bhagavatam was recited by Lord Brahma in our disciplic succession. So it's coming from Brahma, following Guru Parampara. So Srila Prabhupada in a lecture said on this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is also giving a warning that we should not compose in a whimsical way. We follow the Hamsa Sangha, the Paramahamsa, who has the sincere desire to serve Krishna in any condition and circumstances. Such a Paramamsa is Jivan Mukta. Although he is living in the body, he is Paramamsa. In Mukunda Mala Stotra, written by King Kulashekar, he prays, he wants his mind to be entangled in the stem of the Lord's lotus feet. Hamsa, as a swan entangled in a lotus flower. Very easily we can cross over the ocean of ignorance when we associate with pure devotees. The pure devotee can extract the spirit from the wood-like heart. So we hear more about this in the next lesson tomorrow, that how Prahlad Maharaj feels, how much he feels indebted to Narada Muni. So now we come to the last verse of today, and this verse is a very famous verse, quoted so many times by Srila Prabhupada. Balasya neya saranam pitaro nishingan achtasya sagatamudam vitamachatona taptasya tat pratividirya yanyasya stas tavat vibhotanavitam tvakupekshitanam. My Lord Nrsimhadev was supreme because of a bodily conception of life, embodied souls neglected and not cared for by you cannot do anything for their betterment. Whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are certainly impermanent. For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child. A physician and medicine cannot relieve a suffering patient. And a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. So we will read part of the purport. Through parental care, through remedies for different kinds of disease, and through means of protection on the water, in the air, and on the land is always an endeavor for relief from various kinds of suffering in the material world, but none of them are guaranteed measures for protection. They may be beneficial temporarily, but they afford no permanent benefit. Despite the presence of a father and mother, a child cannot be protected from accidental death, disease, and various other miseries. No one can help, including the parents. So actually, this is a fact. Parents will never give up the desire to protect the child. Yes. So we continue reading. Ultimately, the shelter is the Lord, and one who takes shelter of the Lord is protected. This is guaranteed. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Kantya pratijanihi nami bhakta pranashati. O son of Kunda, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Therefore, unless one is protected by the mercy of the Lord, no remedial measure can act effectively. Yeah. I know in Ayurveda, of course, Ayurveda comes from the Vedas. So along with taking the medicine, you must pray. So they know without the help of the Lord, the cure will not work. So one should consequently depend fully on the cautious mercy of the Lord. Although, as a matter of routine duty, one must, of course, accept remedial measures. No one can protect one. No one can protect one who is neglected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada, Mother Narayani said, he was very merciful. He allowed us to go to doctors. But I've heard that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was not so merciful. He said, You just chant Hare Krishna, you will be cured. A few quotes of Srila Prabhupada further. You may have the best hospital, but if Krishna says no, this patient must die, then you cannot cure him. Srila Prabhupada challenged the scientists. Make one pill to cure all diseases, to cure the disease of old age, death, but everyone is still dying and getting old. Srila Prabhupada said, there is one hunter, he spreads this net. There is one hunter and he spreads his net, and some little birds fell into the net. Then the mother saw her babies, jumped into the net and got also caught. Then the male bird said, if I try to save them, I will also be captured. Let me take sannyas. So this is a different story of what we usually hear. But that is intelligence. You cannot protect your family. They must die. They must be captured by Maya's net. So Srila Prabhupada said, if you want to save them, make them Krishna conscious. Then Srila Prabhupada speaks about the analogy of the boat and the ocean. We are all drawn into the ocean, and at any moment we can be drawn. Drowning means every moment we can forget Krishna. Every moment we can go back to the mode of ignorance. In 1977, Srila Prabhupada was very sick, and we were thinking of treatments, medicines, but Srila Prabhupada said no severe treatment. He didn't want medicine, he wanted to die peacefully in Vrindavan. So, this is from Satyavrata Prabhu, text 17, a question. Text 17. I read first text 17 again. That will help us how to understand the question. O Great One, O Supreme Lord, because of combination with pleasing and displeasing circumstances, and because the separation from them, one is placed in most regretful position within heavenly or hellish planets, as if burning in the fire of lamentation. Although there are many remedies by which to get out of miserable life, any such remedies in the material world are more miserable than the miseries of themselves. Therefore, I think that the only remedy is to engage in your service. Kindly instruct me in such service. Question is whether one is miserable or happy. Both conditions are miserable. How someone feels miserable when he's in a happy condition of life. Yeah. Happy condition means satisfying the senses. That as a devotee, do I feel happy when I satisfy the senses? That so we get eating, it's a pain in the stomach, and then the stomach, yes, gives that pain, and then we eat, and then we are in a so-called happy condition. That yes, the eyes like to see beautiful things, and when we see it, are we in a happy condition? No, it's just the illusion of this world. That a devotee becomes, because he comes to the point of being always engaged in the service of the Lord. He's focused so much on this service, identifying himself as his real self, that he forgets about the happiness and distress of the body. That if you go to Ekadashi, and you think, yes, I'm fasting, I'm going for a full fast, but so more than 23 hours and I can eat, that yeah, then Ekadashi becomes very troublesome. One meditates the whole time on eating. But on Ekadashi, when you are so absorbed in devotional service and so intensely engaged, you'll forget about the happiness and distress of this material world. You are just, you don't feel this hunger and all these things, that your mind is completely focused on your service. When you are busy, it's easy to fast. But yes, but if the mind takes over, that yes, then the miserable conditions of the material world, it means we are identifying our body and mind. So in that way, a devotee, he is not interested in the happiness and distress of this world. He's always happy because he serves the Lord. It means that he's situated on the platform of the soul and feels ecstasy and satisfaction within. That a satisfaction that the body cannot give. So that's the point here. Why a saintly person takes pleasure in killing a snake? Because a snake is the most sinful creature that is being explained. The most envious. It cannot improve. It remains having that nature. That. So why was Prahlad happy that his father was killed? Because he was like a snake. It gave trouble to everyone. That therefore he was happy. That so if a snake is killed by a saintly person, it will get a better future. That will not be a snake in the next birth anymore. That's the mercy. If one is killed by a saintly person or killed by Krishna, so one makes spiritual advancement in the next life. That is the idea, but at the same time, Srila Prabhupada did not want to kill a snake. That's interesting. He would not do it. So yes, but now, after hearing that, I want to hear from you that we have heard about the story of Pankajangri Prabhu, who was saved by Lord Nrsingadev. I think you all have prayed to Lord Nrsingadev. Must be. And you must have experiences where the Lord saved you. So I want to hear from you. Please share whatever experience you have with Lord Nrsingadev and how he saved you. That so. Give it a little thought. Mm-hmm. Yes, Muralidhar Shyam Prabhu, please speak.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
This is a humble obeisance Maharaj. I had the past time that with one of the devotee when I traveled to do a program, so where been caught in a very heavy rain. I drove the car and the car uncontrollable, and the car was like was like spinning and spinning. Then end of the day, it go to the edge of the side and it like turn very slowly. It's like slow motion, Maharaj. It's like the car was dropped down. It's very slowly. and both of us never feel fear on that place. Then both of us, another devotee of mine's out from the car, then we start laughing with each other. It's surrounding like very calm and very positive, vibrant, and we believe that nothing's happened. Then we out and laughing and laughing and laughing. Then suddenly many cars came and they say, this road is very dangerous road. If anybody caught in accident here, surely they will die. So who's the inside car? And we see we are the passenger, and none of them believes that that we are the drove and we are the passenger. They say they might be died, and this we believe that the presence of the Lord is there. Like the car is like somebody holding the car to put very slowly. That is not. This is what I personally feel this moment. Where we want to go for the program and distribute a book. What's happening?
Yeah, yeah, that's extraordinary mercy of Lord Nrsimhadev. That thank you for sharing that. Very nice. When I was in, this is about 20 years ago, I was giving a seminar in the Ukraine, at the Ukraine Festival in Odessa, in south of Ukraine. And then when I was at the airport, flying back to a flight to Budapest, and from Budapest to another destination, but I went together with the airport to the airport with Devamrita Swami. And the regional secretary of the Ukraine, Asyuta Priyaprabhu, he asked me to take money with me for the destined for the this was destined for the North European BBT payment, and it was more than $10,000 because he could not transfer that by bank from the Ukraine. So I had this money with me that was in my bag, but then we were many devotees for that flight. But Devamrita Maharaj and me, we had garlands because we were speakers, both speakers at the festival. And they took us apart at the border. And the maximum you could take out of the country was $5,000. And they asked us, what money do you have? And first they checked Devamrita Maharaj, and he was much over the limit, but he got out by saying, oh, this is the money for the whole group, that's just not for me. So somewhere around he got out of it. But when my turn was, they were checking my bag, and I showed a little money that I had in my wallet. It was $300 or something. But the other money was in my bag, and he asked to open my bag. I was praying to Lord Nrsimhadev and opened my bag, and I could see the money, but he didn't see it. He said, okay, go. So by that I was saved from that condition. That many other stories. If someone wants to share any other story, I'm sure you pray to Lord Nrsimhadev that yes, Mother Prabhupada Priya, please speak.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. One time I was on traveling Sankirtan. It was 3 ladies, and we were in the van. And after the day of book distribution, we would go to just park in the parking lot in the city and sleep there in the van. So one night we were sleeping. It was the middle of the night, like maybe 2. It was like 1 or 2 a.m. and we heard some men talking outside the van. And I woke up. The other girls didn't wake up. So I was the leader of the party. So I woke up and I heard them talking. They were talking about what they thought was in the van that they were going to break in and steal. And then they started with the fist hitting the glass, the back. It was like, not far from my head where I was laying in my cot there and like beating the window. And I was just holding my breath and praying to Lord Nursing Dave like anything. Because I was thinking of these guys, who knows what's going to happen, rough guys. And then they stopped. And then I heard them saying, let's go and get a hammer and come back. So I was like, this is a chance, I was like learning to sing it. If they weren't able to break the glass with a fist, they had to go get a hammer. And then, so I jumped up from my sleeping bag and I went to the driving seat and I just I started the engine and I revved the engine a lot. I make a big noise. And then we just drove very fast away from there. And I looked back and the guys were coming with the hammer and they were like so surprised that the van was going away. They didn't know there were people in there, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like learning to sing and give that little time there where I could escape. And I was out on the road, the other girls woke up, they were like, what's going on? Why are you driving? It was very scary.
Yeah, that's interesting experience. You have been saved by Lord Nrsimhadev, that they needed a hammer. Any other experiences? That, mhm. So, Lalita Pritimaya, please speak.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. During my Bhakti Vaibhav studies, once on early morning for group japa, I left my home and I was like walking and I passed through the temple and there is a narrow road which goes to Goshala and the road was full of monkeys and that too it was like the mother monkey and the baby monkeys were like the full road was full of monkeys. So I was just looking for some help. If someone comes on that way, I could pass with them. But no one was during that early morning. So I was feeling I was very late to the class. So then I prayed to Lord Nrsimhadev, please protect me until I reach VIH safely. So I just prayed to Nrsimhadev and I was just looking to the road and I crossed across those monkeys and they didn't do anything. They were just sitting and few were scared and few ran away and I safely reached the VIH Maharaj.
Yeah. I know what you are speaking about because I've been in Vrindavan. I followed the VIH courses from 2010 to 2011. So every year I was about 2-3 months in Vrindavan. So, and we had to go to the Goshal and it's not only the monkeys, but also dogs. And it was mostly winter, very cold. It was sometimes scary. That yeah. But Vrindavan is a special place. Yes. That. Mahasringa Prabhu, please speak. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have a similar experience. Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you hear?
I hear you, but there's a little echo, but it's okay if you speak softly, will be okay.
Yes, I have the similar experience. 1 minute, I'll try to switch off one system. Yes, Maharaj. Sorry.
Yeah.
Again, this is not off, Maharaj. I don't know what is the problem. In 1992.
Yeah. You can speak. It will be okay.
Of this, I was driving. Sorry. Yes, now it's okay. The sound is still coming.
Yeah, maybe you should mute one of the devices there. I don't know that.
Yes, I.
We don't hear you now. Yeah, we don't hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, you can speak, please.
In 1992, I
Yes.
was driving His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj.
Yeah.
We were going to Mangalgiri Dham from Hyderabad, and it was early morning, 3 or 3 a.m. and I felt little sleepy, and I was driving at the speed of 110, and the car was also not that good, and suddenly I lost my control, and the traffic, it was a highway, so traffic is coming from the opposite direction with full speed, and my car is going left and then right and then left and right nearly for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And some trucks and buses are coming from the opposite direction. I closed my eyes and I thought it is gone. We'll be dead.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how we were saved. And after 5 minutes, I could control myself. And then I drove slowly. And it was really a miracle that we are saved. But there was no chance. Actually, I was new and that time to learn driving, not having so much control, and it was a highway early morning, and I was sleepy, and Maharaj was sitting next to me, and it was amazing experience. Sometimes the buses and trucks, they just, how I don't know that they missed us, but they left. They We were saved.
Yeah, that's by Krishna's mercy. That
Yeah.
yeah, I've also experienced that many times, but I traveled a lot with Prahlad Nandamaj also, many times by car, and so many times we were just saved on a second on a. That's yeah, very nice. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we will hear now from Tribhuvanath Prabhu. Please speak, Tribhuvan. Yes, we want to hear from you.
I had this experience. The experience about 16 to 17 years ago. During the time of my undergraduate, we are doing some Bhakti Yoga teaching program in the school.
Mm.
So there was one professor who was very keen about the philosophy. So time to time, we give him hope, encouraging. Well, he was having one wife. Well, the wife was also an academician, sociology by profession. So one time the professor invited devotees to his house where we had kirtan and also shared some prasad along the line. But the wife is not very receptive. So whenever I visit the professor in the office, I will speak to him. He will tell me I have one particular picture that I actually like in this your organization. So he would bring the Shingadev picture. I never know how he get that picture. He would bring the picture and say, this picture, I really like it. Even sometimes I'll put it at my head, but my wife is very scary, things like that. So, so he was asking, do we worship
So it seems there is a problem. Screen is freezing. That, but maybe tomorrow we can begin and hear the story of Tribhuvannath Prabhu, but we will now end. I want to remind you tomorrow the class starts 1 hour later, 2 p.m. because in the morning there are Bhakti Shastri exams that and they go till 1 o'clock. So your class starts at 2 o'clock tomorrow, 1 hour later. So thank you very much for sharing all these wonderful stories. And I'm looking forward to be with you again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you.
Jai.